Hey guys, so let's look at an example of stuck reptile shed, and Orion is a perfect case. He always gets shed stuck on his face. Most of the time, either on his eyelid, as you can see there, top and bottom, and then sometimes under his under his top lip on the inside where it meets his mouth. So what do you do with stuck shed? Well, there's a ton of products, Sheddies, um, ZoomEd's got, a Repti shed. It it all depends on the reptile and how big it is and what to do. But if it's a large reptile, a warm water soak after 15-30 minutes, it'll come right off. If you want to put some Sheddies inside the soak because it's got vitamin E and stuff like that, you can do it. For a smaller reptile, putting him in a bathtub or a sink, he's just going to crawl away. So I like to get any type of Tupperware and put a paper towel in there. Hot water, nice and warm. Now for Orion, because of how it gets stuck on his eye, I will give him a spray of the ZoomEd. So I just put him in, really simple. Line this up, boom, one spray, just like that. Now that's going to piss him off, as it always does, and very gently, because he wants to escape, get him in there. Now, why would you put him in here over the sink or over, someplace in his cage? The whole point of a container is to keep the humidity in the container, and then to also you have the lid to keep the reptile in the container. So the humidity stays trapped in there, the reptile stays trapped in there, his dry skin that was really flaky is going to get real soft and loosen up and be able to roll right back with a toothpick. So I'm going to let him sit for about 15 minutes, then we'll come back and I'll show you exactly how to take it off. And this method will work with any reptile. The only thing you're looking at, the differences, is size of container. Again, big, full-grown bearded dragon or full-grown, well, I guess you could say water dragon, but chances are that won't happen to them because they have a pool. But full-grown bearded dragon, probably going to go in a kitchen sink or a big Tupperware, not Tupperware, like plastic storage container, or you've seen snakes, people have put them in big fish tanks or even a clean garbage can that they'll pool up in the bottom with water. And then because he's smaller, we can use a nice little Q-tip, so this is good for any small reptile. So we're going to let this sit, we're going to let his skin get all soft, and then we're going to come back in about 15 minutes and we're going to show you how to peel it off. Okay, we're back. He's been in here, he's been soaking, everything is gone. We have the only tools we need, the Q-tip, and then the lizard himself. So we'll go ahead, we'll open this, and he's just sitting in there, he's just chilling. You can see the shed is no longer, looks like that crispy white, it's now much more. So I take my Q-tip, and in here is a little bit of water and everything, and I just dip the end in. It's a little bit of that warm water. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to take him and we're going to move this out of the way. Now, he also had a little bit of stuck shed on his toes back here, and I can just go ahead and fold and pull these right off slowly. Now, why am I doing this before I get to his face? Stuck shed potentially can be very bad for a reptile. If it's on their toes, on their face, on their tail, anywhere, it can cut circulation off to that area, and they can lose feet, they can lose toes, they can lose nails, they can lose any limb, they could lose an eye, and typically that's not going to happen right away. Reptiles will shed every time they get new skin. When they get larger, they have to grow new skin, so that's not the problem. The problem is if they have shed that gets stuck on their nail or on a joint, and the next shed happens and that didn't come off, then that's going to pile up and pile up and pile up and be really bad. You'll see it on snakes and even on lizards. You'll see it, basically they're called eye caps, where the shed will just form a layer of skin over the eye, and then eventually they can't blink the eye, they might not be able to close the eye, they could lose the eye. altogether. And sometimes to fix stuck sheds, it's actually got to be done essentially in layers. Okay, cool. Yeah, he's all good. So sometimes he's got problems with that back foot. So they'll lose the shed in layers, so you might have to do this multiple times if you have a huge buildup. But now you'll see most of this can just come, it's just going to peel right forward. And you should let reptiles attempt to get rid of all their shed on their own. It's very natural for them to get rid of it. Leopard geckos, they eat their shed, so you don't want to go pulling it off unless it's stuck. Okay, now what you'll see, like what I saw with him, is it always gets stuck a little bit on his head, and he's licking it, he's trying to get it, it won't come off, and then you know the shed is stuck. So this is really loose, so I can actually grab onto this, it's alright, and it's just going to come like that. It's going to come all the way off the side. Here's this gross little piece of shed, we can let it go. His face is now nice and normal. You see on the side where he had all that dead skin. And I'm just going to take a quick close-up look real quick myself. Oh yeah, he's all great. So, it's not stuck over his nose. He's able to breathe. He's able to blink his eyes. He's able to open his mouth all the way. If we go to his feet, they look really well. So he is clean. That's as easy it is. But yeah, stuck shed is very dangerous and you have to monitor it. Again, always let the reptile do as much as possible on their own. And this can happen for a lot of reasons. People will say humidity. It also happens in the wild. It's just most of the time in the wild, the reptile has, a bunch of different ways. He might be able to get to a lake. He might be able to get to a tree with tree bark or rocks or sand or dirt. His environment is a lot more random and he can do a bunch of crazy things to try to get rid of it. And your cage doesn't. You typically have glass and everything, so every once in a while you can get a little bit of stuck shed. It's not the end of the world. It does not mean you need to change your environment at all. All you have to do is you make sure the shed is ready to come off, so it's been on there for a little bit, it's white, the shed's missing from the rest of the body. You give him the soak. If you give him the soak and you notice it's not going to come off, it's not going to roll back, if you either can soak him for a little bit longer or just wait a couple days and do it again, the shed might not be completely ready to be removed. Alright guys, that's how you clean shed off of a leopard gecko, but really if my false chameleon has problems shedding, I put him in a Tupperware. If my baby bearded dragon that you've seen, I put him in there. And if they're larger, like one of my large chameleons had trouble with stuck shed, I put him in a small reptile enclosure that I had a sealed top for. So lots of different ways. Just basically let it get real wet slowly and warmly, and then slowly peel it back and you're all set. Okay, everybody, take care. Hope this helped.